Well, before delivering that afternoon's speech on the Senate floor, Lisa Murkowski spent the morning in a hearing room. She and the rest of the Energy Committee welcomed Energy Secretary Steven Chu to talk about a topic he knows and enjoys especially well, research and development. Not that the Nobel Prize winner had much of a chance to actually talk about his R&D ideas. Clean Sky's Tyler Suiters was there for the first Senate energy hearing of the new year. And Tyler, what took up so much of the Secretary's attention today?
Well, I feel a little bit like Secretary Chu himself, Susan, that he wanted to talk about one topic, he just never really got started into it. The reason today he didn't get to talk about clean energy R&D, the reason he was there, in fact, is because of partisan agendas. There were a few exceptions among the members on the Senate Energy Committee today, but generally, the Democrats at today's hearing wanted to talk about capping carbon. The Republicans wanted to talk about building out the U.S. nuclear fleet. Let's start with the Democrats, and there were questions from Chairman Jeff Bingaman and also Washington State Senator Maria Cantwell about putting a cap on carbon. And Steven Chu was very clear that pricing carbon is not enough. That does not send a strong enough price signal to the U.S. industry.
If I were a utility company and thinking of investing anywhere from $1 billion to $10 billion in a new power, depending what the plant was, whether it's a coal plant or a nuclear plant, that would be operational for 60, maybe 80 years. It will be very important to me as to what the long-term signal is going to be. And that's why I think, and this is what I hear from industry, why the money is on the sidelines. You can't make those investments. The financial institutions, the banks, are holding back, saying, "Well, I'm not sure we can make these loans because we don't know what the lay of the land is today." The rate commissions also need those signals. So all these things are semi on hold because of that.
Now, as I said, Republicans generally wanted to talk about the nuclear industry. There is a loan guarantee hearing in the Senate Energy Committee coming up February 9th, so Chairman Bingaman asked them to hold their questions on that. So today's focus involved nuclear waste issues. Jim Bunning from Kentucky said there has been nothing in the U.S. for the nuclear industry in so long, he really just wanted to vent. And he said this is not just about the Obama administration. And he directly addressed the Secretary asking, in a sense, why are we dragging our feet on a U.S. nuclear build-out? Well, the Secretary's been on the job for less than a year right now, so you can imagine he didn't have a sufficient answer, at least as far as the Senator was concerned. Bob Corker for Tennessee also expressed what he said is something of a state of disbelief over the delays regarding the waste repository issue. And the first Republican to dive into this was Lisa Murkowski, the ranking member of the Senate Energy Committee, and she asked in a very straightforward manner for an update from the Secretary on his promised Blue Ribbon Commission on nuclear waste.
Well, I've been saying, unfortunately I've been saying for several months, but I've been saying very soon, sometimes very soon. I still go back to saying very soon. These things are complicated issues. There are a lot of stakeholders, but
so at this point in time, there's no immediate plan to convene?
All I can say is stay tuned. We in the Department of Energy and the administration are working hard to push this thing forward as fast as possible to convene the committee with a reasonably short time scale. And so you know, there are vetting issues, there are all sorts of things but we're in the final stages of that.
I guess it makes me, I just got to be candid, less trustful of the department as it relates to that, and I just don't understand it. I mean, it seems like on every count, I know the chairman, and I appreciate, sort of preempted me on loan guarantees, and I'll wait until the hearing to talk about that, but nothing's really happening there. No Blue Ribbon Commission, which is appointing people. Well, I talked to you last week about some other issues relating to nuclear energy, and it does feel like that candidly you're slow-walking things that are proven and wanting to spend lots of money on things that are unproven.
The Secretary's response to that, in this job as Secretary, this is one that can require political dexterity, and he said, quoting now, "My biggest asset is my credibility as a scientist." And he went on to tell Senator Corker, "I'm pushing this as hard as I can." However, Susan, following those comments, Chu also said that I don't want to share any details about why convening this commission has taken so long to complete.
Well, he did explain how complex it was. But Tyler, I guess it was easy to forget today the hearing was supposed to be about clean energy R&D. Did Chu get to talk about that at all?
Eventually, he just kept getting sidetracked by one senator after another going on a different line of questioning. And most of what he had to say about clean energy R&D came in his opening statement. And his third or fourth sentence was, "I'm here to speak up for clean energy R&D." He then went on to talk about the economics of R&D investments, and he talked about Nobel Prize winning work of Dr. Robert Solow specifically.
Several years ago, I was a member of the committee that produced the National Academy's report, Rising Above the Gathering Storm. As our report stated, since Solow's pioneering work, the economic value of investing in science and technology has been thoroughly investigated. Published estimates of the return on investment for publicly funded R&D range from 20 to 67%. Let me stress that we are talking about an annual rate of return on investment. I personally would be delighted to get 5 and 8% return per year, but never mind.
At the very least, the Secretary certainly seems more comfortable when he comes into these hearings than he did about 1 year ago as he was going through the confirmation process. Now, he did say the DOE is pursuing 3 new complementary approaches to accelerating breakthroughs. Number 1, Energy Frontier Research Centers. These are collaborations focused on overcoming the known hurdles in basic science, as the Secretary put it. Second, the ARPA-E program. We have talked about this numerous times. This deals with more risky technologies, but they could be potentially transformative technologies as well. And finally, the Energy Innovation Hubs, a phrase that the Secretary has talked about time and time again, an echo of his beloved Bell Lablets, where he really honed his craft in his early years as a scientist. Susan, following today's hearing, I also had the chance to ask the Secretary about his comments about needing a stronger price signal for carbon, and also why he thinks that carbon regulation has a strong role, potentially, for regulation. We'll take a deeper dive into those comments coming up on tomorrow morning's edition of the Energy Report.
All right, Tyler Suiters, thank you.